Good morning. So, rules. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room, so I'm switching from the main room to the chat room. Hold on. Because I noticed that Thomas puts a little, like something extra in there sometimes about, some of the trends, just kind of describing them and saying how he thinks, so I think that could be super useful. But the thing that I don't like about the chat room is there's so many messages in there, and I don't want to be influenced by everybody else's trading or just be bombarded by a bunch of other information. So I'm blocking everybody else except for Thomas. That's the only one that I care about. Nothing against anybody else, but yeah, I'm blocking everybody else. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades that are touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support or resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. A higher low or lower high afterwards is needed. Context that I'll take a trade in a trend. I'll take a trade looking for a break in new extreme. I'll take a trade after the EMA is held strongly and a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take a second entry, a higher low or lower high after a second entry, a failed second entry, a higher low or lower high after two clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs or lows. No trading 10 minutes before any news events, no trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all the trades play out, no closing trades early. The short-term trend working back needs at least one convincing break and new extreme attempt. So that's the thing that I messed up yesterday. There's a short-term leg back and there was a break of that which created a second entry long, but there was no attempt at the new low yet. So if the second entry long had come here, then maybe I could have taken it. But given the how prices had just broken it and there was no attempt at the break and new extreme yet, I couldn't take that. The signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA. So this is another thing that I've noticed and that I've kind of been struggling with a little bit is, let's find an example. So a bar so for example, this bar, the body is touching the EMA and it's all the way above the EMA. Let's say for this one, this bar right here, it starts below the EMA and it does end up closing above the EMA. Not that you would be able to take the signal bar anyway, but you can see the body is about halfway through the EMA. So I'm requiring at least 75% of the bar, or like here's another, what the heck? Oh, here's another example. So this bar, it opens below and closes above. So technically that's off of the EMA, it's touching the EMA, but you can see majority of the bar is, or the body of the bar is below the EMA, so that's not something that I want to take. So that's why I added that rule in there. So at least 75% of the signal bar body must be on the correct side of the EMA. And that, of course, is not applicable if I was, say, trading off a trend line. So let's say that the EMA is here, and let's say I'm taking a trade off the trend line here below it. Obviously, that's not going to be applicable in that sense. And as these messages pop up, I'm just blocking everybody that's not Thomas. There could be some range resistance here. It could be here. It could be a little bit lower. But I don't think it's there. It's too many breakouts. I'd say it's probably either here. I think that's where I'm going to start. And looks like Thomas has basically the same thing, except he has this here and that a little bit tighter. So we're now 3 minutes before they open. So I'm going to block off this section. Don't want to trade here. I'm going to wait for the next 6 minutes. Looks like we're pushing down pretty strongly. We might get a push below the EMA, in which case we could start looking for shorts. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room and newsroom, and block everyone except Thomas. No looking at other people's messages. Any other web pages, or no looking at any other web pages or apps than rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I'll draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below, unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support or resistance level. Don't take the first, second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Higher low or lower highs needed afterwards. Context I'll take a trade in a trend. I'll take a trade looking for a break in new extreme, or I'll take a trade after the EMA is held strongly and a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take a second entry, I'll take a failed second entry, or I'll take a higher low or lower high after a second entry, or two clear legs back. This is looking like we're probably able to take a short here, but we're still kind of blocked off as far as the news goes, or as far as the open goes. Setups I'll take a second entry. Oh, I think I already said that. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs or lows if that's applicable. No trading 10 minutes before any news events, no trading 3 minutes before or after the open, and we are about a minute and a half after the open right now, looking for a break a new low of that downtrend. Let all the trades play out, no closing trades early. Short-term trends working back need at least one convincing attempt at their extremes before you can take a trade, and the signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if applicable. And we're only 2 minutes into the open right here. Prices are looking pretty normal here. So I think if we did get an entry, I would still probably consider it. Looks like we're gonna get a first entry. I'm looking for a second entry short off the EMA right now. Looks like we're just going to head towards that break a new low already. Made a double bottom there. That's pretty much a new low, even though it hasn't quite hit the break a new low. Would definitely be hesitant on taking a second entry short. And looks like we're able to take trades again. So we're past 3 minutes, past the open. Okay, can't take that one. We're too close to the lows here. So unfortunately that is a second entry short. It is off the EMA, but it forms way too far from the EMA and you're way too close to this low. You don't have room to get out before the lows. Even if you were to drop like a limit order way far back, you still, I mean, prices aren't coming that far back, but you don't really have room. Possibility of a wider downtrend, but I don't want to draw that too early because we've just got one break and new low. So let's see how prices react at the EMA now. If prices reject off the EMA, then I'll continue to look for shorts. But as of right now, I can't take the second entry short. Let's look for the measured move. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and draw this larger downtrend. Even after the break and new low, look how prices are continuing to stay away from the EMA here. So I want to widen this downtrend and see how that fits. Looks like there's no news today, so don't have to worry about that. The only news was right here at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And Thomas has yet to widen this downtrend, so if prices don't hold here, I'm going to remove it anyway, but just wanted to point that out. Looks like prices are going to hold here, so I'm going to keep this downtrend. Curious to see how much room you did have. I don't even think that's 2 points. Yeah, not even enough to get out for a 2-point scalp. Prices are looking pretty congestive here. We do have a break of this downtrend, which I do believe is valid. You have a bunch of touches here, another touch there. So looking for a second entry short, counting this part as a double bottom. So this is all one low. This is one leg up. So looking for the second entry short now. So prices will have to come up and at least attempt that high and then get a bearish bar in order for me to be interested. Still a possibility, but looking less likely. Okay, then you have a new low for this downtrend. So far, this is really easy price action to read. Close outside, new high. Clearly looks like a range. Coming back within the range, downtrend gets a break, a new low. Now you're at the bounds of this range. It's very, very simple. So now I'm expecting prices to push up and then we can start looking for longs. If that doesn't happen, then I'll go ahead and widen the trend, which looks like it could fit on this channel line right here. You can see all these lows. So if prices continue to work lower, then I'll probably draw that downtrend. But for now, I'm expecting prices to reverse off the lows. So Thomas says that this support is not that significant, that the main support is at the low of day. So I guess that would be right here. Oh, I think he's talking about this one. He's talking about this support here. Gotcha. This is the main support. I was going to say that's super strange why he would say that. Okay, so we're finding some rejection off the EMA here. So it's possible that we have a wider downtrend, but I don't see it yet. Just looking to see how the support reacts. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room and news. Block everyone except of Thomas. No looking at other people's messages. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support or resistance level. Don't take the first, second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. You need at least a higher low or lower high afterwards. I'll take trades in a trend, looking for a break in new extreme, or after the EMA is held strongly in a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low or lower high after second entry, failed second entry, or higher low or lower high after 2 clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs or lows if needed. No trading 10 minutes before any news events. No trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all trades play out. No closing trades early. The short-term trend working back needs at least one convincing break and new extreme attempt before I'm willing to trade. So I don't have to, whatever. I was gonna show an example, but I don't need to do that. Signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA. It's definitely possible you have some sort of spike in channel, but I don't want to draw that too early either. Actually might go ahead and draw that. So maybe this is more like that. But this is the first break out of the overnight lows. So I don't want to take a short here. I want to wait and see if prices are going to hold below the EMA, and ideally whether they're going to come back and test this overnight low and hold it as resistance. It looks like Thomas does have that same spike channel, so glad that I got that one. possibility for a second entry short. So we did come back, we tested that overnight low as resistance, and we held on the EMA, so I would consider a second entry short here. Okay, Thomas has changed his downtrend. He has it starting in a really odd place that I wouldn't have thought to start it, which is right there. And I wouldn't have thought about doing that. But it makes sense as far as this being the first break out of this channel here. So really, I mean, if you just started off that body, Possible second entry short here. It only looks like one leg back, but this is a pretty strong downtrend as of right now. You can see all these small dojis working lower. So if you do get a bearish bar, then I might consider that second entry short off of the EMA and or trend line. Possibility here. We're closing above the EMA there, which is not ideal. We're going to need to respect this short-term uptrend. So could look for a lower high after the second entry. It's a possible second entry, but short-term uptrend is in play, so I'm gonna wait on a higher or a lower high. Let's hope we get a lower high here off the trend line and EMA. Okay, possibility. Looks like we're getting quite far from the key entry point. So I'm gonna have to drop a limit order back if this does trigger. Signal bar is okay. I'm gonna drop a limit order back. It looks like it's just gonna go without. Yeah, that already reached the target, so I've got to take that off. It's unfortunate. Signal bar is just kind of too big. I didn't want to take it all the way down here. That would be way too big for me, unfortunately. Even though it's a good looking entry. Looks like Thomas still has a limit order drop back there. Never mind, he tried to drop a limit order back on the engulfing, so he dropped a limit order back here after the signal bar started moving down. He didn't get filled, so it's good to know. We might get a failed second entry though. Looks like I made the right call as far as not taking it that far down though. And there's the failure, really nice signal bar, but it's not off the EMA or the trend line, and it's really, really far from the EMA, so you can't take that. You're gonna have to just wait on some sort of second entry short again. So this is actually very similar to the trade that I took yesterday, where it closed outside of the short-term trend, but there was no attempt at the high of the short-term trend, so you can't take that one. Got a pretty obvious overshoot. Be interested what this looks like on the daily. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room and news. Block everyone except Thomas. No looking at other people's messages. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I'll draw it the same way. Gotta block this person real quick. Only take good PATS signal bars. Take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level. Don't take the first, second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Need at least a lower high or higher low afterwards. I'll take a trade in a trend, looking for a break in new extreme after the EMA has held strongly and a clear and obvious bias, or after the EMA has held strongly. That's what I meant to say. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low or lower high after second entry, failed second entry, or higher low or lower high after two clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room for the previous highs or lows. No trading 10 minutes before any news events. No trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all trades play out. No closing trades early. The short-term trend working back needs at least one convincing break and new extreme attempt in order to take a trade. So for example, this trade here, it closed outside of the short-term trend, but there was no attempt at the break and new extreme, so that the bar that created the second entry was the break of the short-term trend. So I wasn't willing to take that. It needed to close outside and then have a test, and that had to create the second entry or the lower high. Signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that is applicable. Even if you get a good second entry here, I can't take that because there's an overshoot, and I can't take the first, second entry after an overshoot. So I need at least a lower high in order to take this. So lower high or failed second entry, assuming the EMA continues to hold and this trend continues to be in play. So I think you can, well, most likely you're going to be able to expand this out so it's not an overshoot, but we will see. Okay, we'll start with it like this. And Thomas is saying that the channel has held so perfectly that it makes sense to respect the overshoot at first. But if we break these lows, that's whenever he's going to start expanding. That makes sense. So I was a little bit early. You have a first entry. This is your second entry short, but you don't want to take that because there's this overshoot. Even the second entry short off the EMA, can't take that. It's just too aggressive. That's not even within my rules, and this one's not even within my rules either. So now we will consider a failed second entry long and the lower high after the second entry short. So first entry, second entry, might get a lower high off the EMA. Also you have a first entry, second entry long, but we're forming way too far from the EMA, so obviously can't take that. And it looks like he did end up expanding this a little bit sooner. So initially he was saying that he was going to do it after the break into extreme, or after the new low here, but he did it a little bit sooner. And it looks like the failure never triggered, so you do have a first entry, second entry long possibility off the EMA. And looks like the failure is going to trigger on this inside bar. Lots of sideways action. Can't take that. Far from the EMA too. So looking for some sort of second entry short. Definitely a strong downtrend. Look at all these small dojis working lower, continuously working lower. That's what a strong trend looks like. That yard work is a little loud out there. I'm just gonna go ahead and mute my mic because that's so loud. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to forget to unmute the mic. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room and news. Block everyone else except for Thomas. No looking at others' messages. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas is a trend drawn, then I'll also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level, in which case it's okay not to be coming off it. Don't take the first, second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. You need at least a higher low or lower high afterwards. The context that I'll take a trade in a trend, looking for a break in new extreme, or after the EMA is held strongly in a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low or lower high after second entry, failed second entry, or higher low or lower high after 2 clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room to get out if applicable. No trading 10 minutes before news events. No trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all the trades play out. No closing trades early. Let the short-term trends working back play out, or at least have one convincing break and new extreme attempt before taking a trade. And the signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that is applicable. Not quite acting like an overshoot, but I'm still going to treat it as if it is until proven otherwise. So if we do continue to push past these lows, then I'll probably consider this as not an overshoot. It does look like this might fit pretty well. So if we pull this down, this actually fits pretty well on the midline and with this channel line right here. So Thomas is considering this one because prices keep overshooting the other channel. I wouldn't have considered that. I would have just kept expanding the other trend. But now it is kind of acting like an overshoot here. Well, possibly. It's just a strong rally up. I'm definitely going to remove this one. Don't think that's right. Go back to this. Okay, so he just has both drawn for the time being. Definitely looking for a second entry short here. It's been a really strong downtrend, even though you pushed above the EMA. Look how we pushed right back through. So we pushed right back through the EMA, and there's the short-term uptrend that might need to break a new high. So we need to wait for at least one attempt higher, in which case maybe I'll be willing to take a second entry short off the EMA. So looking for prices to break above this bar and create a bearish bar for a second entry short. So we have the potential for a second entry short here. First entry, break higher, possible for second entry off the EMA. Looking for a bearish bar. If that breaks lower, I'm going to go with it. Okay, taking that. Okay, so Thomas said he's not taking it because it's kind of a weak close on the signal bar. So it's just something worth noting, but I'm already in this and I don't close trades early, so I'm gonna take that. Looking pretty congestive here. You can see all these stacked bars. with 1, 2, 3 dojis. So looking to see if the EMA is going to hold. There's a possibility for a failed second entry long as well. And that signal bar is no good for the failed second entry long. I'm going to zoom out here just so I can take a screenshot of this later on. So that way I have a good point to take that screenshot. Looks like I'll most likely get stopped out here. EMA is kind of holding here, so it's kind of the saving grace for this one potentially. See if we can go ahead and drop on down there. We'll be pushing right kind of up into those lows, getting out kind of just before it. So the downside to this one is really just the doji bar. Also, there are kind of 3 stacked bars there, so it's congestion. Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 stacked bars at that point with 2 dojis, so it is congestion there. And you have that doji signal bar, so that makes it not ideal. Looks like we'll probably get out of this one anyway. Maybe. It's kind of looking like 2 legs down. Oops. So that is the downside to taking it kind of right at, or having our target kind of right at these lows. So you're bound to find some support at this level.
Target filled.
Did get filled there. So now, if you're playing this trend right here, then you have a close outside and new low. It's still possible that this one is wider like this, and that's not a true overshoot. But for now, take this, put this new low. Looks like if I had a runner, it would be going here. Came really close to stopping me out. I think it just a couple ticks, so it's pretty close. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. When you're looking at any other Discord channels than chat room and news, block everyone except Thomas. When you're looking at other people's messages. When you're looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I'll draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support or resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Higher low or lower high is needed afterwards. Context I'll take. take a trade in a trend, take a trade looking for a break in new extreme, or after the EMA is held strongly in a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take a second entry, higher low or lower high after second entry, failed second entry, or higher low, lower high after 2 clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs or lows. No trading 10 minutes before news events, no trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all trades play out, no closing trades early. Short-term trends back need to either play out or have at least one convincing break in new extreme attempt in order to take a trade. The signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that's applicable. Okay, so we're expanding this trend out. So instead, I think we're going to start off of this and have this still in play. And that makes a lot of sense there. I like that. Looks like you have a possible second entry short here. So you have one leg back, first entry, looking for a second entry off the EMA. And it's not off the EMA. It is a good looking pattern as far as 2 legs back goes, but needs to be off the EMA for me to consider it. So that's the second entry short, but again, too far from the EMA. It's not off the EMA like I need. This cough just won't go away. It's been forever. So made another new high there, so it's technically a double trap, first entry, second entry, double trap there, but not something that I'm taking. Kind of just like sideways as well. So you can treat this as its own short-term leg back. This kind of all looks like one low, so I think you can count that as just one low there and look for a second entry short. Even though it's technically a first entry, second entry, third entry. So counting this all as one low, like I said, I'm looking for a second entry short off the trend line and or the EMA. That's interesting. Okay, so Tom says it's drawn in a weird way. I wouldn't have thought to draw it this way. He has the short-term trend working up like this to close outside a new high already. And he's considering a lower high, so I guess this would be kind of 2 legs back if you count it like that. So if you look at it like this, then that could be 2 legs back, so 1 break 2. It's not how I was seeing it, but in that case it does fall within my rules to consider a lower high as well. But also, again, if I was looking at this all as one low, then that's a first entry, potential for a second entry. So let's see what happens. So I'd have to tick higher than this bar and then turn down bearish in order for me to be interested in that one. So far, it's not what's happening. Prices are just moving lower. Would still consider the lower high slash second entry short. But this is kind of an equal low with all these ones. Not quite. This lower high is obviously too far from the EMA. Can't take that. probably like 100 points down by now. 94. That's crazy. It's a very big bearish bar. So it looks like this one was probably definitely worth taking. Thomas was saying that in strong trends you have to be more aggressive, and it looks like he wishes that he would have taken that. Your runner would have been safe too. Even at BE +1, break even +1, still a runner would have been safe. Just trailing one tick behind. It's already like almost 9 points, or a little bit over 9 points, but then if you keep it, you know, one above this and keep going one above the swings, then you're already like 15 points on a runner. So looking for a second entry short again. We have the short-term uptrend. First entry, looking for a second entry. This one looks a little odd though. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than chat room and news. Block everyone else except Thomas. No looking at the others' chats. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set or timer. Speaking of blocking, I'm blocking this person. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Need at least a higher low or lower high afterwards. Context I'll take in a trend, looking for a break a new extreme, or after the EMA is held strongly and a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low or lower high after second entry, failed second entry, higher low, lower high after two clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs or lows. Or whatever you have to get out before. No trading 10 minutes before the news events. No trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all the trades play out. No closing trades early. If there's a short-term trend working back, it either needs a break into extreme or one convincing attempt at the break into extreme before I'm able to take it. And that's because of my trade yesterday, unfortunately. The signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that's applicable. So that won't always be applicable, of course, but in case it is. So you have a first entry, potential for a second entry, but we'll have to get that close outside and attempt at a new extreme or new extreme for this short-term uptrend here, even though it's only 2 bars. It's been a really strong trend, so you can definitely be more aggressive though. Looks like we do have a close outside, so I'm looking for a second entry short off the EMA and or trend line. Okay, looking for a second entry short here. Even though it's a bit sideways, again, this has been such a strong trend that I'm not expecting the biggest pullbacks here, and it's off 2 key entry points, so definitely hard to skip this one. If that breaks lower, I'll take it. And looking for 1-to-1 on that. First entry, second entry off the EMA, off the trend line. Short-term uptrend has a close outside and attempt at a new high, so I definitely think that's worth taking. It's just been such a strong downtrend that even though this isn't really the biggest pullback and prices are looking a little bit sideways, I think you just have to take that. Potential for a lower high here. It's tempting to enter another entry on the lower high, assuming there's a good signal bar, but I don't really want to double up the trade. I'd rather just let the one trade play out. Maybe if I was a better trader, then maybe I could double up like that. And the other thing here too is there's obviously a little bit of support coming in at this level, but given that this is such a strong downtrend, we can't pay attention to that little micro support. I mean, we can pay attention to it, but it can't be like the reason that I skip this trade. That's kind of what I'm saying. See, I'll probably get stopped out on this one. Again, coming very, very close to my stop. EMA continuing to hold. says as long as you have room for a scalp, you can sell. So I wonder if he means room here or room before the lows. I'm guessing he means room before here, but I didn't think that this support was really a factor, considering it's just been such a strong downtrend. And you can see, let's see. Yeah, I was going to say this could be a failed second entry here, but it's not. Obviously caught in congestion here, hoping the EMA will just hold and we can kind of go on lower. Kind of hard to tell what's going on because my orders are all in the way, but clearly we're just in this really congestive area. Looks like we're probably going to get stopped out right there. So coming one tick from my stop order, really, really close. Surprised that Thomas didn't mark that one. Would have figured that he would, considering it's been such a strong downtrend that you can be a little bit more aggressive. He's saying he'll risk this multiple test if it comes back, so I guess he's thinking about entering right here, looking for the scalp there. And it did stop me out. Not really sure why. I mean, I know, obviously there's some support there that you need to watch out for by that point. I guess that's really it. But I didn't think that that was going to be a big problem considering this is such a strong downtrend. I thought that you would be able to push through that without really any issues. Looks like you wouldn't have even quite gotten out for 2 points there. Sort of been one tick failure there. messing up. The cord is like a little bit weak for some reason. If it like moves just a little bit out of the way, then it turns off. So I hope it hasn't been on for too long. So I did just ask Thomas why you had to pay attention to this micro support here. He's saying that it's at the bottom of a 100-point move and you're selling at the bottom of a wedge. So you can see prices kind of wedging here. Well, it's at the bottom of a 100-point move and prices are losing momentum, so they're wedging. So that's why you don't want to risk going through that support level. That makes sense. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. Draw that. No looking at any other Discord channels than chat room and news. Block everyone except Thomas. No looking at others' chats, any other web pages, or no looking at any other web pages or apps in the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Higher low or lower high is needed afterwards. Context I'll take a trade in a trend, take a trade looking for a break in new extreme, or take a trade after the EMA is held strongly in a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low, lower high after second entry, failed second entry, higher low, lower high after two clear legs back. I'm entering for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs or lows or whatever support or resistance I need to get out before. No trading 10 minutes before news events and no trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all the trades play out, no closing trades early. Short-term trend marking back needs at least one convincing break in new extreme attempt or a break in new extreme, obviously, and the signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA. With this being such a strong downturn, you're not even considering longs. I mean, this is just almost bound to be just a short-term correction here. So we're drawing just a short-term uptrend that has a closeout side and a new high. We're looking for either some sort of lower high or failed second entry below the EMA node. It's looking like this trend could be valid. I'm not positive, but I at least want to look at that and consider. Looks like this is probably going to be a bigger correction than just a short 2 legs back, so we're just going to wait on this to play out before we're looking for more shorts. And of course, not looking for any longs here. Just got to wait until this correction either plays out or doesn't, and we're looking for the break of new low. Again, even if you get a strong setup to the long side, I can't take that. This has been such a strong down day. Can't do that. So even if you got like the most perfect second entry long off the EMA, perfect signal bar, perfect everything, can't take it because I'm expecting a break a new low for this downtrend. This has been such a strong downtrend, pretty much guaranteed to trade lower, so it's not worth the risk. Just trade with the clear bias. And I do want to see what the 50% mark is. This is kind of in the way. This is all kind of in the way. Just want to see where that 50% pullback is. That way I can pay attention to it later on. We're nowhere close to it right now. I don't like that. It's too bright. Just make it white instead. Looks like we're moving towards a close outside a new high for this uptrend. We'll see what happens after that, whether we go ahead and start looking for the break a new low of the downtrend or not. Be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room and news. Block everyone except Thomas. No looking at others' chats. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Need at least a lower high or higher low afterwards. Context that I'll take in a trend, looking for a break a new extreme, or after the EMA is held strongly in a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low, lower high after second entry, failed second entry, higher low, lower high after 2 clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room if needed. No trading 10 minutes before any news events, no trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all the trades play out, no closing trades early. Short-term trends working back need at least one convincing break and new extreme attempt in order to take a trade with the overall direction again. And the signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that is applicable. Okay, now we're looking for some shorts. And we're back below the EMA. Uptrend has played out. We can draw this trend a little bit wider because it's with the direction of the overall trend. Ideally, you would have had a first entry and then a second entry below the EMA, looking for that continuation for the downtrend. But you didn't get that, so we're looking for a still possibly a failure, but also a second entry short. Now we didn't really get any great trades on the way down. This one was okay. This one obviously failed on me. And so hopefully we'll get some good trades as prices work towards the close outside new low. Again, because this is with the direction of the overall trend, you can kind of keep widening this out. And that obviously, like, even if you had this tighter, that doesn't really look like a closeout side. So that's why I want to have this a little bit wider like this. Okay, so this is the first attempt below the EMA. Prices are trading back above. And I'm actually going to tighten this. Call that a new low. I didn't think it was, but I do think it is now. Okay, so I'm going to switch this uptrend to be wider now. It looks like we're headed towards a break a new high of that, and this is definitely plausible to have this wider. Again, we have one attempt below the EMA, so the next attempt is going to determine whether I'm still looking for a break a new low or not. But also, with that in mind, we still haven't reached the 50% retracement, and that's usually the point that we're gonna kind of need to call in the towel on the retest. Be objective, trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than the chat room and news. Block everyone except Thomas. No looking at others' chats. No looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas has a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Only take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Higher low, lower high is needed afterwards at least. Context that I'll take in a trend, looking for a break a new extreme after the EMA is held strongly in a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take second entry, higher low or lower high after second entry, failed second entry, or higher low, lower high after two clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room before the previous highs, lows, or support resistance. Can add the support resistance in there too. No trading 10 minutes before news events. No trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all trades play out. No closing trades early. Let the short-term trends either play out or at least have one convincing break into extreme attempt before hopping back on with the main bias. And the signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that is applicable. Clearly have a new high there. So uptrend break, 2 legs to a new high. Now we're looking again to see, okay, are we going to push back below the EMA for continuation or not? really continuing up there, even though you already had the break in new high. Again, we still haven't had that 50% retracement, so I'm still not really throwing in the towel on this downtrend getting a break in new low, but we are getting up there, and prices are continuing higher even after the close outside and new high for this uptrend. So initially we thought there was a close outside right here, and then prices ended up moving up again, so extended this uptrend out, and then it looks like prices are still moving upwards. So all that to say, getting closer and closer to possibly changing bias, but not yet. And that's the 50% retracement right there. So this is possible exhaustion here. It's very strong buying at the end of the move, so that's what you see a lot of times whenever prices are exhausted. If we look for a measured leg up, and that brings us right to that 50% retracement. What could be happening here is a lot of the shorts that either hopped in or had their sell orders placed are pulling their orders and waiting for prices to reach that 50% retracement. So just a lot of potential sell orders that were in here that are just getting pulled, and it's causing this kind of like exhaustion type, vacuum type move up here. It's a possibility. So we're getting close to that level where I might say, okay, we're gonna switch biases here. But I'm almost done trading anyway. I've only got like 20 more minutes before I'm off. This is just a very strong uptrend. So we've reached that 50% level. And now we might consider saying, okay, we're not going to come back down and test this, break a new low. It's definitely a possibility. We've even extended past this measured move up. We've only had one attempt below the EMA, so let's see what happens potentially as prices trade down here. If we do trade below the EMA, I might still like to take some shorts because we have made these two perfect, basically, legs up. We made the 50% retracement, so just need to be a little bit more wary here. I do want to see here maybe if I had dropped a limit order back, if I was really paying attention to that support, maybe drop a limit order pretty far back there. I don't know if I would have done that though. All right, so we are continuing to move up. It's possible we even look for a wider uptrend. It seems like that shouldn't be correct, but you never know. I don't think I should draw quite yet. But man, this is quite the up move. So even if you got a two-legged pullback now, I still don't think I'd quite be willing to go long, but I'm at least considering that it could be worth it soon. So again, we've already passed this 50% retracement. This is a very strong up move, so it's possible that we're no longer looking for the break and new low of this downtrend. And that is the last timer, so be objective. Trade what you see and not what you think. Don't look for an entry, look for understanding. Wait for the easiest entries when all of the context aligns. No looking at any other Discord channels than chat room and news, and block everyone except Thomas. No looking at other people's chats. Any other web pages, no looking at any other web pages or apps than the rule set and timer. If Thomas is a trend drawn, then I will also draw it the same way. Only take good PATS signal bars. Take trades touching the EMA with longs above and shorts below unless you're coming off a proven trend or horizontal support resistance level. Don't take the first second entry after an overshoot or break a new extreme. Higher low or lower high afterwards is needed. Context that I'll take. Take a trade in a trend. Take a trade looking for a break in new extreme. I'll take a trade after the EMA is held strongly and a clear and obvious bias. Setups I'll take. Second entry. Higher low, lower high after second entry. Failed second entry, or higher low, lower high after two clear legs back. Enter for 1-to-1 risk reward at the signal bar close with a limit order or further back to have room for previous highs, lows, support, or resistance. No trading 10 minutes before news events, and no trading 3 minutes before or after the open. Let all trades play out, no closing trades early. Short-term trends working back either need a break in new extreme or one convincing attempt before I can start trading with the main bias again. And signal bar body must be at least 75% on the correct side of the EMA if that's applicable. So for example, if we came down and the signal bar was starting below the EMA and then traded about halfway above, so for example, if this was your signal bar and half of it was above and half of it was below at the body, then I'm not looking to take that. At least 75% of the body needs to be above the EMA in that case. So this still looks like two larger legs back, so I want to see how prices are going to react to the EMA here. Again, I don't want to take this first, second entry long. I'm open to potentially starting to look for longs, but I need to see what prices are going to do. This is the second attempt through the EMA, so we had one attempt, well, we had one push through the EMA, price is pushed right back above, so I want to see what's going to happen on the second attempt here before I'm willing to start looking for longs. Even if this is basically a perfect entry, it's not what I want to take. And I do think you could possibly draw this short-term downtrend like this and say, okay, that's 2 legs back with a second entry long off the EMA. The bias is looking like it's up, but like I said, I want to see what prices are going to do here. And I'm drawing the trends a little bit wider to the downside because we still have this outstanding break in new extreme for the downtrend. The overall bias today has still been down. We've only retraced about 50%, so I'm still not calling in the towel on looking for a break in new low quite yet, but I'm getting close. Doesn't look like that trend was worth really anything. I wonder if you could draw it a little bit tighter though. Okay, so we have pushed below the EMA. Initially it wasn't looking like a very strong push, but we are picking up some momentum here. So looking for a possible short. This is a possible overshoot, so I don't want to take the, well, let's see, it's not really looking like an overshoot. If you do take this in a little bit tighter, then you can just say, okay, it's not an overshoot. We might consider a short depending on how it sets up. Let's keep an eye on this level as well. See if that comes into play. It's possible you have an uptrend here. Okay, so I'm going to pull this in. I'm going to call that an overshoot again. Let's see what happens here. All right, so I'm going to say there's no uptrend there, and I'm going to make this a little bit tighter to the downside. Something like that. Looks like we are most likely resuming looking for this downtrend now, or the break a new low now. Resuming the down bias. I think that probably looks like that. Could be an overshoot here. So again, if you do draw this way, that could be an overshoot. Even if you draw it like this, it still could be an overshoot. So I can't take the first or the next second entry. I do think that it's probably tighter like this. I think it probably looks like that. This is kind of acting like an overshoot with that strong push up. Yeah, totally. All right, let's change this up. Let's go back to this downtrend and just say, okay, that's an overshoot. And that's it for me. I hop off at 12 o'clock, so I am done for the day. I will be on tomorrow as well, and I should be on every day this week. So see you then.